Hey everyone, it's me, your best friend and biggest fan. This is Stan. Just wanted to say thank you for all your lovely reviews that we received over the last, 6 months? 5 months since we started the podcast. We read every single one of them. And to prove it, here is one of my new faves. Morbid but genuinely funny. 5 stars. I've never giggled so much listening to stories about dead people, despite them being awful people. Oh, and many catchphrases and memorable moments in all the episodes. My cummies will stay with me till the day I die. Thanks, Englishman31. My cummies are eternal. You're right. This week's episode is a goodie. We are starting off 2023 right with a freaking queer icon. So yeah. Happy New Year's, rats. Let's do it. How does this podcast start again? I'm like, what?
Welcome back to Respect the Dead, the podcast where we sometimes do.
Oh, okay. Sometimes do. I was like, where we don't not.
We don't like, not. That should be
negative.
Where we don't not respect the dead. Leave it all in. Leave it all in.
Should that just be the intro? It's just me.
Should we just you being very confused? Yeah, cut to
the... It's no surprise that everyone celebrated your demise, and now worms are eating your eyes. So don't you worry your rotting head as you sleep in your sodden bed. It's time to respect the dead.
Welcome back to Respect the Dead. I'm Kaylin Conrad.
I'm Hoots.
And I'm mainly Mandy.
No, you're taking your sweet ass time.
Swallowing. Alcohol.
Okay. Oh, this is a good start.
Did I kill Hoots?
My cheeks hurt.
I thought I killed Hoots for a second. She was on a frame.
Okay, so I told you who I was doing, but do either of you know anything about this person at all? Josephine Baker.
No.
I do not.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so she was born on June 3rd, 1906, so quite a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
She lived her early life in the Mill Creek Valley neighborhood of St. Louis, a racially mixed, low-income neighborhood near Union Station, consisting mainly of rooming houses, brothels, and apartments with no indoor plumbing. So, not necessarily a great place to be. I didn't mention this. She was a young Black girl.
Mm-hmm.
She was always poorly dressed and hungry, and was one of the kids that sort of had to wander around and figure out odd jobs and do things to bring money back home. No formal education. She attended an elementary school, but only went through the 5th grade. But that I couldn't even find an adequate source on. So she had no opportunities given to her at the beginning of her life. Her mother married a kind but very unemployed man named Arthur Martin, with whom she had a son, also, again, Arthur, and 2 more daughters, Marguerite and Willie. I love all these children's names.
Marguerite is a great name.
Marguerite and Willie. I'm I love this.
Yeah.
A little girl named Willie, Willie. Super cute.
There's a lot of, I know there's a lot of Billies, with IE in Maine that I've met throughout, my life. I wonder if that's common elsewhere.
It is a cute little name.
It is. It's really cute.
So Josephine took in laundry to wash to make ends meet, and at 8 years old began working as a live-in domestic for white families in St. Louis.
Mm.
An 8-year-old live-in housekeeper. Yeah.
That's a child.
Can you imagine telling your 8-year-old housekeeper to clean something up?
Oh my God, I love your little tiger you drew. It's so cute. Anyway, get back to work.
Okay, well, she definitely did not have crayons because they did make her sleep in the doghouse.
Oh.
No, not in the doghouse.
The doghouse.
The literal doghouse with the fucking Nana?
I will go back and add in a content warning. But for this next part, content warning. I feel like this entire show is a content warning. You should just know what you're getting into. But in case you don't yet, content warning, abuse. when she did something wrong, like put too much soap in the laundry, they would burn her hands.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I tried to find out this one specific woman's name that did this so I could like put a curse on all of her descendants, but I couldn't find it. I was so ready to be like, oh my God, your entire lineage is going to end here. I don't care what it takes. I will buy the oldest, spookiest text I can find. So by the age of 12, she was working constantly and had to have dropped out of school, which is why her education did not go very far.
Mm-hmm.
By 13, she was a waitress at the old chauffeurs club. So she was living on the streets, sleeping in cardboard box shelters, scavenging for food in garbage cans,
God.
and making most of her money by dancing and performing on street corners. Because she was a very good dancer and a very good singer. Like that was her like intrinsic talent, because she obviously wasn't taking lessons. Like she wasn't afforded any of that. She was just innately talented in this.
Yeah.
And it was at the old chauffeurs club where Josephine met Willie Wells. This is a new Willie, not the sister Willie. And was forced to marry him the same year.
Forced?
When she was 13.
Why was she forced?
How old was he and why was she forced?
I don't know how old he was, but she was 13. So literally no age that he would have been appropriate. But he was definitely old. He was not also 13.
Right.
The marriage lasted less than a year. But after she left her husband, she pretty quickly found work with a street performance group called the Jones Family Band.
Do you know why she was forced to marry him? Was it just like, you have to marry this guy now, deal with it? Or was there like a accidental pregnancy maybe or something?
Yeah. Who forced her?
I think she didn't have the option to be like, oh, well, I'll just continue to live on the street.
Oh, okay. So it was like a...
So he offered and she couldn't turn him
she
down.
needed
when
a
I say
place
forced,
to...
sorry, I don't mean like literally like at gunpoint, just like...
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's... Yeah, okay.
It was like her situation.
She didn't have any better options at the time other than marriage.
Yeah, and he was an older white man.
Yeah.
So if he wanted to, I'm sure he can make her life very difficult.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, she probably really couldn't have said no, even if she did have other options.
No, I mean, like she could have said no, but it would not have gone well. Like it wasn't.
Yeah.
So
I get it. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So she tried to go back home later on when she was a teenager to try and have a relationship with her mother again. Her mother's Carrie McDonald. But when she finally like went back and tried to like rebuild that relationship, her mother was like, no, you can't try this whole entertainer thing. You just need to be married. And then her mother did force her to marry someone. This was an actual forcing at the age of 15.
Jesus.
She didn't want her to like have her own job, have her own career, like follow her passions. She just wanted her to marry a man so that she would have money, probably to bring in to the household. Mm-hmm. But Josephine was not the kind of person who would be like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna deal with this and do what other people tell me to do. So she dumped her second husband and joined a vaudeville troupe, which like...
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, right? And was booked into a New York City venue in 1925. And during this time, she actually began to see significant career success and like legit started making like good money for that time. So she's like jet setting around, returning home with gifts and money for her mother and her half sister. But her mother was so much like a drama and was so awful to her that she was like, you know what, fuck it. Like, we're done. I'm going to France. I'm going to chill. So she headed to New York City during the Harlem Renaissance, performing at the Plantation Club and in the chorus lines of the groundbreaking and hugely successful Broadway revues Shuffle Along with Adelaide Hall and the Chocolate Dandies. I don't know any of the people in the story, but somebody else might. So she performed as the last dancer on the end of the chorus line, where her act was to perform. Like, she was supposed to come in like she had no idea or talent, like no clue what's going on. And at the end of the number, like bust the fuck out with perfect choreo, like more intricate than everybody else is, and like nail it.
Oh.
Which like I would,
Heck
this sounds really good. Right?
That's a really fun thing. I think I've seen similar things like that where you like you pull someone out of the audience, and you're like, oh, I don't know what's happening, and then they just like belt out, and it's fucking awesome. I love that shit.
So she was at this time now billed as the highest paid chorus girl in vaudeville. Her career began with blackface comedy at local clubs. This was like the entertainment of which her mother had originally disapproved, and this was in France, so it had a not like really like any less racist than America, but like the connotations around it and like the history of it is slightly different. But these performances allowed her the opportunity to tour in Paris and actually get her career started. And she never had to do anything like that again. She never had to like perform anywhere she didn't want to. She was able to turn places down.
Nice.
I know. I mean, like, she did what she had to do.
Yeah.
She said, I became famous first in France in the 1920s. I just couldn't stand America. And I was one of the first colored Americans to move to Paris. Oh, yes, Bricktop was there as well. Me and her were the only two. We had a marvelous time. And Bricktop is one of the people that most people are pretty sure they were not just roommates. They were not just besties. They
were just gal pals.
Yeah, like she is very openly and like unapologetically I would say bisexual. She didn't use that term, but she was with men and women.
Yeah.
Whenever she wanted. She was just living that French performer life.
Was this early 20s?
So it's like mid-20s, like 25.
Mid-20s.
Yeah, literally 1925.
I wonder, there was like a German bisexual dancer who probably moved in very similar crowds called Anita Berber. And I wonder if they ever crossed paths.
Editing Kaylin, tell us. So I don't know if they actually know each other, but they did both perform in Berlin in the 1920s. It's cute.
Did Josephine Baker ever make out with Anita Berber?
So in Paris, she became an instant success for her erotic dancing and for appearing practically nude on stage. Her outfit was like it wasn't like actual nude, but it was like nude vibes. Like it would be like a very like skin tight, like
skin color,
tone outfit. Yeah.
Yeah.
After a successful tour of Europe, she broke her contract and returned to France to star in the, and I'm going to say this wrong, Folie Bergère?
Yeah, I think it's Folie Bergère.
Bergère, okay. She performed the Danse Sauvage, which sounds racist. Wearing a costume. Oh, no, it is. Yeah. Wearing a costume consisting of a skirt made of a string of artificial bananas.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Her success coincided with...
I do kind of want a banana skirt, though.
It was so cute. There's so much to this where it's hard to tell if these were decisions she made or these were decisions other people made for her.
Yeah.
And I don't want to assume a lack of autonomy because she turned down things
Clearly
she didn't want to do, and she lived her own life, and she didn't let people like control her. So I don't want to make assumptions about that. But we can say that. It has a
very almost like a burlesque performer vibe of like being very like almost tongue in cheek, maybe. And I don't know enough about her to say that for sure. But it kind of makes me think of that a little bit, where you might almost play into it to like make fun of it a little bit, like kind of political, maybe, but maybe not. I'm not sure.
Okay, so on her shows in her like main tour, it's Paris. It's 1925. She walks out on stage. And like, you're in Paris in 1925, so you've probably never seen like a cheetah, but you have now, because she brings a literal cheetah
icon
out on stage with her.
Oh my God.
Its name is Chiquita.
Chiquita the cheetah?
And it's wearing a diamond collar.
Wearing a diamond
Fuck yeah.
Oh my God. In 1925 in Paris.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh God.
I'm going to get you a picture of Chiquita. Well, of her and Chiquita.
People back in the day knew how to live.
Yes. I want to see.
Yes, Chiquita the cheetah wearing a diamond necklace in Paris.
They're both so beautiful.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
She's so fucking iconic.
She's gorgeous. Yeah, what an icon. Look at that hair.
And I love that she's got that like 1920s like little curl happening.
I love the curl.
Beautiful.
She's got a Marcel wave. She's got some Marcel wave going on.
And she would walk Chiquita just down the street.
Of course she would.
I'm just going to send you one more Chiquita picture of just her shopping with Chiquita.
Oh, with her like fur. Oh my God. Look at that.
Oh my God. What an icon.
This is why I was like, I don't want to think people are calling her or like telling her what to do, because this woman is like walking down the street in a cheetah print coat, walking a cheetah in a diamond collar. Like, I don't want to assume that she isn't like completely in charge here.
Yeah.
Icon.
That's incredible.
So did she just like have that thing in her apartment?
Mm-hmm. I lived with her.
Just like
that was her cat.
Where
feeding it cat
food?
Where did
she get it? She just got it.
I did not look into that, but I'm assuming there weren't very strict like animal import laws.
Probably
in
not. Yeah, you don't even need a black market.
They didn't realize that anyone would bring a cheetah.
They just went to a cat store.
How much do I give you for a cheetah?
There.
A cat store.
down to the old cat
where
store.
we get our cats. Walking on down to the cat store.
Just going down to the cat store, picking up a fucking cheetah.
And then you walk in, there's like a cheetah and there's a lion. It's like, there's like a lynx, you know.
I need a smaller model.
So yeah, the cheetah Chiquita was super dope. We love it. She was amazing in the show.
Mm-hmm. Icon.
Except for like occasionally, just the first time it wasn't that bad. But she did like launch herself into the orchestra pit and like chew on a flautist. Just a little bit.
I mean, whomst amongst us?
Just a little snack.
Has not swan dived into an orchestra pit to chew on a flautist.
And the crowd goes wild.
Chiquita did nothing wrong.
They fucking love it. They're screaming her name.
I'm sorry. Okay, the French are fucking feral. Of course they loved it.
So they made that a part of the show going forward.
Feed the cheetah the Chumba player next.
Of course they fucking did. Of course those French fucking swine were like, I won't pay to come see your show unless you have someone chewing on a flautist.
Oh my God.
I want to see an orchestra member die.
Okay. So she's big. She's now like not only an amazing singer, dancer.
She's Chiquita that's cheetah big. She has a fucking cheetah. Of course
she has a cheetah in her show.
She's fucking Beyonce.
She is. She's the Beyonce
like
of the
honestly
1920s.
back then, absolutely. So she's there and she's in Paris after her show. She's just hanging out in bars with like Ernest motherfucking Hemingway, who, by the way, called her the most sensual woman anyone ever saw.
He wanted to tap that. Problematic king.
And she's all walking around like, Picasso really wants to draw me. Something about my alluring beauty. I guess I'll probably do it.
Girl, you don't want Picasso to draw you, though.
I'm not. I think he did. I'm pretty sure he did. He at least asked.
Was she like? Did she look at the picture afterwards and was like, "What? What is this?
Chiquita, go!
How many angles do you think I have?"
In my mind, I don't know if this is accurate, but in my mind, her relationship to her cheetah was very like Harley Quinn with her hyenas kind of vibe.
Yeah, that's what I was picturing. Like, Chiquita, get him.
Like, I'm just imagining her like, go get the cheetah. No, go get him. Go get him. Oh, good boy. Like, that's what I'm imagining. It's like really cute and chaotic.
So she began to start in silent films, but was also at the same time doing like vocal training lessons and like finally able to go and like do some actual formal training for all her performances, and fell in love with her manager, but they couldn't get married because she was still technically married to the second husband she ran out on.
Taylor's little time.
Yeah. And so it's 1925. Apparently this is when Hitler's brown shirt stormtroopers were still considered a fringe group. And she was playing in Berlin to thunderous applause.
They were like
they loved her.
NDSAP or whatever they are. National Socialist German Workers' Party. So the NSDA.
You did a good job.
I had to just like work that through in my head back when they were like a political wing and not like all of the government.
So she returned 2 years later, and Mein Kampf had become Soup's Pops, unfortunately. And the response at her concert was very different. The newspapers were calling her a black devil and a Jezebel.
Jesus.
Oh, no.
Saying things like, how dare they put our beautiful blonde Leah Seidel with a N-word on stage. Very bad. And she was unsafe. Like, the mobs were so bad that she was fearing for her life. So
Jesus Christ.
she was like, yeah, maybe not Germany.
Yeah, it seems like a bad vibe.
But then also not really America either, because she
also a bad vibe.
Fucking hated it there. Like, literally was doing so well in like other parts of Europe, but none of that ever translated to America. Time magazine called her an N-word wench.
Jesus Christ.
Whose dancing and singing might be topped anywhere outside of Paris. People were saying she was too thin. Other articles were calling her dwarf-like, which I don't even know.
Was she short?
That's not.
She doesn't look short in that picture.
She's not that fucking short.
She looks like she's like my height. She's like 5'4".
I'm gonna see if I can find. I never look.
I mean,
she's 5'6".
Like, just a racist.
I'm 5'6".
Oh my god.
What the fuck?
That's not even. That's like
hateful.
Tall.
What the fuck?
Legitimately hateful. I know so many men who are 5'6". They tell me they're 5'8", but they're 5'6".
So that was her experience in America going back there. So she was like, no, goodbye. Went back to Europe, like pissed off, heartbroken. All of her movies turned into like pretty much flops there. And she just said, fuck my American citizenship. I'm becoming a citizen of France.
Fair.
Yeah.
Understandable.
Which, like, good for her. There was a 1937 brochure denouncing decadent artists, issued by the chief propagandist of the Nazi Party with her face on it.
Of course.
So she was
classic Nazi party.
like literally the worst party. This party sucks, you guys. Should we leave?
The degenerate laugh.
Y'all, I'm not sure this is a good party. I'm not liking the vibes here.
Does anyone think Hitler was a terrible party?
I'm just
Hitler is actually problematic, and here's why. Tweet 1 of 478.
Just all the receipts. Just the cancellation of Adolf Hitler.
I have screenshots of fucking Alfred Hitchcock. I said Alfred Hitchcock.
Okay, Alfred Hitchcock
Hitler.
also fucking sucked though, and I'm gonna definitely talk about him in a future
Not
episode.
Hitler bad, but
he was still terrible, but different bad.
Adolf Hitler. I've got like screenshots of Adolf Hitler tweets going back 10 years, and I've got to tell you guys, he's not what you think he is.
Josephine, the same year that her face was on the cover of that brochure, she happened to marry a man that she loved who was also Jewish. And she was very pissed off that some things were going on that made her and him feel very unsafe. So 1938, she declared that I don't know who she's declaring this to, but I love it. She declared that Nazis were criminals and criminals need to be punished, and said that she would kill them with her own hands if necessary.
Yes, bitch. My girl said punch Nazis.
So all of that preamble was just the first part of her life, which was all necessary to really explain how dope it was when in 1939 she became a spy for the French military.
Yes.
To go undercover as a Nazi hunter.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Bisexual, like singer, songwriter, Nazi hunter, cheetah owner.
Living the fucking dream. Yes.
I need a movie so hard.
Where is the biopic?
MCU
Where is it?
Comic about fucking this
right?
bitch.
Oh my God. It's amazing.
So entirely unpaid, as is typical for that kind of role. But she would have refused to accept money for it anyways. for some of her excursions to travel around the world and meet. So what she did was she performed for like world leaders and like military agents, and then would eavesdrop and gather information. So she would show up, she would perform a show, but she would be secretly gathering information on them, which is like so fucking dope.
I love it.
But she would be able to like afford to go to those places. She would start selling off all of her jewels and her assets so that she would have money to like travel to go on these missions. When the war came to France in 1940, her very glamorous, gorgeous country home became a base of operations for local members of the resistance as well as refugees.
Oh my God, amazing.
Including a Belgian Jewish couple whom she sheltered there.
Mm-hmm.
In the highest tower of her home, they set up a radio transmitter so that they can get in contact with Britain. And like this entire thing is like so cinematic. I absolutely need this to be a movie at some point.
Yeah. Where's the Netflix series? Let's make this happen.
Yeah, actually, I want a series. A movie is not enough. I need a Netflix
like a whole
series.
like an 8-episode arc.
Yes.
Let's make it an HBO. You know, HBO.
HBO. Yeah,
we want that.
Yeah,
budget.
actually, better. Yeah. Her cellar was filled with weapons for the resistance. So if people needed to come and pick up some guns to go shoot some Nazis in the head or whatever, they could stop by old Josephine's. And when the soldiers would come to be like, we've seen like a lot of like foot traffic here. She's like, what? I'm a dancer. We throw a lot of parties.
Foot traffic. Yeah.
I love her just playing like,
girl, let me tell you about my feet, my happy feet. You want to hear about foot traffic?
You want to hear about foot traffic, shitty face?
Get a load of these foot lies.
I just love the idea of her just like really playing up, like being like probably like a dumb drunk socialite whenever they showed up. Like, oh my God, like you're so hot. Like, what are you talking about? We're just having parties. You want to party too? No? Okay, bye.
Yeah.
And then they leave and she's just like, all right, let's do this. And she's like back in there with like a hat, like a beret. And she's like, the cheetah has a beret too.
Oh my God. Oh my God, that's so crikey. Oh my God.
That's so crikey of her.
Was so crikey.
So the Nazis asked her to perform for them. And she was like, no, I would not have the heart to go on stage when there's so much suffering. But she like was totally performing everywhere else. So she'd be like invited to tons of parties and specialized in like swooshing into gatherings at embassies and ministries, gathering intel. And her fame allowed her to rub shoulders with like high-ranking officials because everybody wanted her to perform for them, and getting like a personal performance in like a small room, they felt like so like honored and so prestigious by it. But she's secretly writing notes,
right?
But to make sure that they can't capture her, or like if they were to search her, she writes them in invisible ink on her sheet music.
Oh my God, that's so
That's
iconic.
so cool.
That's so iconic. On sheet music.
Yes.
I love
On fucking sheet music.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. I'm imagining that she does it wearing nothing but a set of pearls. Like, just for the vibes, just for the aesthetic. She's like, hang on, let me take off all of my clothes and put on this string of pearls. I need to write my notes about the Nazis.
Well, she's like lounging on like a chaise sofa and
stroking her cat.
Yes, exactly. Who again is wearing a beret
with like a feather quill.
Yes, like a big.
Yes. And the cat's like,
she's like, Chiquita, no.
So to hide these notes, she would pin them to her underwear underneath her garments, so that when she was searched, even if they did find them, she'd be like, what? I'm just keeping this is my music. I'm keeping it like close to my heart.
Yeah.
So not so funny. But even as her friends were being like killed or sent off to concentration camps, she remained like cool and calm-headed and kept going on her missions, performing like for American troops in Algeria. One performance, the Nazis opened fire.
Jesus. And
like on her performance, and she like literally had to dive behind a buffet tent.
Jesus.
Oh my God.
Afterwards, she joked, me, belly down amongst soldiers from Texas, Missouri, and Ohio in my 1900s Paris dress. It must have been an irresistibly funny sight. Mostly because I kept on eating. She had a bowl of ice cream.
Oh my god.
I'm just imagining this like really tense. There's all these like soldiers and they're like boys and they're shaking and it's quiet and it's tense.
Like
and just,
bullets like blowing dirt out from the ground behind her.
And this literal like 37-year-old woman in like a silk gown going.
It was a bowl of ice cream.
Eating like guacamole. Okay, ice cream's different. But
She's too classy. She's too classy to be eating a chip on the ground. She had like a gorgeous like silver spoon.
Oh, of course. It's amazing.
Everything she did was so fucking iconic. Like
It really was.
honestly, I was considering just telling this like end part because it's the best part, but you have to know like how shitty her life was and how far she came and then how she gave it all up
before she became
to fight the Nazis.
Not just a gay icon, but I'll say it, a drag icon.
Yes.
I mean, like, there's nothing she did that is not like representation somehow. Like, I'm sorry, but diving, like, I think she chose which table to dive behind. I think she aimed for that buffet table because she was like, bitch, I am not done eating. I have not finished this ice cream.
There's this is such a side thought, but like there's an episode of Scrubs where like someone has to choose between like jumping behind a brick wall and jumping behind a scooter. And I'm just kind of imagining she had that choice where she's like, well, I could jump behind this like brick wall that's definitely safe, or I could jump behind the buffet table where ice cream is. I'm going ice cream.
Listen, I get it. Especially when you've just been performing, like you get off that stage and you're like, I am famished.
Oh, for sure. You want food.
Yeah, and you need a little sugar.
Yeah.
Especially if you've been drinking and like, yeah, totally. And writing down notes in your invisible ink. Like you need to get some food.
I know.
It's a lot harder to write invisible ink than regular ink. You can't even see what you're doing. So after the war, she returned to Germany in 1945 to be honored at the Allied Victor ceremony. She took the place of honor in a country that had degraded and ridiculed her only a few years before, and performed for the survivors of a death camp who were too feeble to leave the prison themselves. So she went and had like a final performance for them, even though everybody there had like typhus and there was literally like bodies everywhere. She like walked through and performed. She was in really bad health herself, but sang a song for them called In My Village, which was just about like the simple pleasures of going back home, which is like, I read that and I started bawling like, and even after France was liberated from the Nazis, she never stopped fighting for equality for people. After the war, she got a bunch of titles and medals that are all in French, so I'm not going to try and read them, but she got like a shit ton of medals and awards for her work. Her last marriage was to a French composer and conductor, was this Bouillon? She's soupy. Around the time Baker,
little beef bouillon. I wonder if she said that to him. She's like, give me a little of that bouillon, a little bit of your beef bouillon tonight.
Her last marriage ended around the time she adopted her 11th child.
11th.
She had some money, she had some prestige, she had a big house, and she
Angelina Jolie. Just collecting children.
At her chateau in France.
Oh my God. She gets more draggy like every minute.
Oh, I'm imagining like little children playing with like Chiquita and like on Christmas morning and they're all like playing together next to a tree.
And Chiquita just like mauling them a little bit.
Just a little nibble.
Just a little nibble.
You know.
They don't need all those fingers. What are they doing with them anyway?
As long as you have your thumb, you're fine.
And this little piggy went to market, and this little piggy went inside Chiquita's belly.
So 1949, she goes back to the stage. She has all this recognition from her wartime heroics. So she was able to perform in a lot more places that maybe wouldn't have accepted her before, because now she is like icon, celebrity, war
She's
hero.
a war hero.
As well she should be.
Literally on the ground fighting Nazis. Like literally, so much more than like anyone else can really claim.
She was like, I fought the Nazis with a spoon of vanilla soft serve in my hand.
Just scooping out the eyes of Nazis with like the little ice cream scooper thing. Like,
So she, despite that like long hiatus, was reestablished as one of Paris's like preeminent entertainers. But in 1951, she was invited back to the US for a nightclub engagement in Miami after winning a public battle over desegregating the club's audience. So she refused to play unless they desegregated their club. She said, if you want me there, you do it, and you do it permanently, not just for this event. So they did.
Forever.
That's great.
And she followed up that with a sold-out run at the club with a national tour.
Dope.
She won NAACP's Woman of the Year.
Nice.
Right? So she was refusing to perform at segregated clubs. And this is during the 1950s. There's a lot of things going on with the civil rights movement. And when she arrived in New York with her husband, they were refused reservations at 36 different hotels.
Jesus.
What
36 hotels.
Fucking war hero.
Yeah. Her insistence on mixed audiences helped to integrate the live entertainment shows in like Vegas and in other states. But after doing this, she started getting threatening phone calls from the KKK trying to stop her. But she publicly said, like, no, not stopping. Not afraid of you. Like, bitch, I fought the Nazis.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely not.
What are you? You're just like a bunch of little fucking nerds who dress up like wizards in your spare time.
You fucking Harry Potter penguin motherfuckers.
Who the fuck do you think you are? Harry Potter penguin motherfuckers.
So at a club, the Billingsley's Stork Club in Manhattan, she was refused service, and actress Grace Kelly, who was at the club at the time, rushed over to Baker, took her by the arm, and stormed out with her entire party, vowing to never return.
Ooh.
Nice.
Good for Grace Kelly. Give it up for Princess Grace.
Love it. Love it.
And they became really good friends after that. They were like besties after that. Baker started working with the NAACP, and May 20th, 1951, that day was declared Josephine Baker Day.
I love that.
And she was presented with life membership with the NAACP by a Nobel Peace Prize winner, Dr. Ralph Bunchy. Possibly Bunch. Sorry, Ralph. I'm hoping you're dead, so you can't be upset about this. She also spoke at the March on Washington at the side of Martin Luther King Jr. in 1963.
Wow.
Yeah, right? Like, I'm like, oh my God, I have a YouTube channel and a podcast. I'm
nice.
so accomplished. And like,
and she's like the Forrest Gump of like civil rights.
she was the only official female speaker there. And she was wearing her Free French, the like capital Free French uniform, emblazoned with her medals. And Rosa Parks and Daisy Bates were among those she acknowledged. And both of them also gave brief speeches at the same place she did, like that same event. Some people were not happy with her being involved, though. They thought that her time overseas made her a woman of France, and she was disconnected from the civil rights issues in America. And that, I mean, I'm like, I can't have a stance on that myself. But this quote, I think, was very poetic and on point. She said, "I have walked into the palaces of kings and queens and into the houses of presidents and much more. But I could not walk into a hotel in America and get a cup of coffee, and that made me mad. And when I get mad, you know that I open my big mouth. And then look out, because when Josephine opens her mouth, they hear it all over the world."
Hell yeah.
Oh,
Hell
that's
yeah,
a great
Josephine.
I
That's amazing.
love her.
Open your big fucking mouth. Let them know.
So she had 4 marriages to different men. She had 12 adopted children altogether, but also had several relationships with women over her life. And she was known...
Yay!
Yeah, I know. We love a bisexual queen. Or,
We do.
A queer queen. I don't really want to call some like dead woman a queer, but like...
Bisexual
I don't
queen.
know her vibes, but she performed like for the rest of her life, living exactly the life she wanted to live, which is like all I ever wanted for her after reading about her, like when I first started researching. In 1975, she starred in a retrospective review at Bobino in Paris, celebrating her 50 years in show business. Demand for the seating was so intense that they had to get fold-out chairs to be added to the venue and just like place them around so more people could come. Opening night audience included Sophia Loren, Mick Jagger, Shirley Bassey, Diana Ross, and Liza Minnelli.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
God.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that is a guest list.
God, can you imagine like fucking Mick Jagger and Shirley Bassey in the same fucking room? Like,
and Sophia Loren.
I mean, those are some big personalities.
It sure is.
Okay, now it's sad. There's one more sad line. 4 days later, she was found, okay, maybe not that sad, found lying peacefully in her bed, surrounded by newspapers with glowing reviews of her performance.
Oh, it's not sad, it's sweet.
She was 68.
Oh, she was young.
Which I can imagine she probably lived pretty hard.
Yeah,
so 68 is probably a good age
for her. If I was her,
like
my liver would have been dust.
Yeah.
Just like a mealy little wet dollar store carpet, trying to like filter everything through it.
In the 1920s, they also did a fucking lot of cocaine.
I sure hope she did a lot of cocaine.
I just would have.
I assume she did.
The one woman whose name I could find that she was with was Clara Smith. So if anybody knows who the fuck that is, or would care to know, that was one of the only women I could find the names of, because I don't think it was like super published, and a lot of people won't write about actual queer relationships and include all the information that you need, so you have to find it through letters. They were best friends and
roommates.
They were just so close. Gal pals. But also, they sleep in the same bed, even though she has like a fucking chateau.
They're just very close.
Yeah, that's Josephine Baker.
Thank you for that. What a fascinating woman. I've heard her name before, but I had no idea who she was.
I don't think I had ever heard her name. She sounds amazing, and I'm glad you told us all about her. Her and Chiquita are going to live in my heart forever.
Yeah.
God, she was so beautiful.
She is my favorite person from queer history that I've ever heard of. It's her and like Elgabalus, this like trans emperor who was like a bloodthirsty, like cravenous monster who I will probably cover in a normal episode. But she was like a horrible monster, but so iconic.
Look at this picture of her in the top of this this article about her. She's just so beautiful.
Oh, she's so
look
pretty.
at her hair.
Oh my God, look at her
outfit
she's
and
so
her
pretty.
fur.
She's beautiful. Yeah, gorgeous. Look at that.
Just a gorgeous smile. She's so pretty.
Yeah.
Oh,
fucking icon.
I found the banana skirt.
Oh, you did? Share that. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to see it.
Yeah. I want the banana skirt.
I have looked through so many photos of her. I'm like, this, not the aesthetic for me, but I love the aesthetic of like hers. So I would really like a print.
Oh yeah, a print would be nice.
Oh, there's a couple of different pictures of the banana skirt. I want the banana skirt.
So this is the poster I wanted.
Ooh, Pitchfork. There's an article on Pitchfork from, I don't know how many years ago, Janelle Monáe to play Josephine Baker in new A24 TV series.
Oh my God,
yes.
I'm there.
That's kind of perfect.
Oh my God, Janelle.
I fucking love Janelle
Please,
Monáe.
they're amazing. Yes. Oh, I love that print. With her and Chiquita.
Okay. This article's from earlier this year. So, okay,
yes.
I'm gonna look at Chiquita. Chiquita.
With the bow and the bouquet.
Did you say that was a movie or a series, Hoots?
Apparently, it's a TV series, but it's produced by A24. I mean, that's perfect. A24, Janelle Monáe.
Ooh.
Oh my God, I love the Casino de Paris poster. Sorry, I need this picture as a poster in my apartment.
They have it on Redbubble, and I want to get it. I've been thinking about it for like the past like 3 years, but I never had posters before. But now that I have 2 in my room already, I'm like, I'll get this because this is like, I want to get like a big one. It's so nice.
Where can I put her?
Right, we're looking around apartments like, where does...
The colors are so good, right?
They're so good. And like, they're so vibrant.
If anybody asks about it, you have like the most bomb fucking story to explain
about her. So let me sit you down.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Fuck you, Jojo Janelle. Coco, whatever her fucking name is.
Chocho.
Chocho, whatever.
I would love it so much more if it was
Chocho.
Chocho Chanel.
She's such a piece of
That's
shit.
so
I'm
much
not going to
cuter.
say her name correctly.
She didn't earn it.
Chocho Chanel. Like a chugga choo choo. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Respect the Dead. You can follow Respect the Dead on Instagram and Twitter at _Respect the Dead.
If you want to follow us individually, you can find our socials in the show notes. And you should check out our YouTube channels. We don't shit on dead people there as often, but still, we're making tons of cool stuff.
If you enjoyed Respect the Dead and would like to support us, there's a couple of ways to do that.
You can give us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you found us. If you leave us a review, we can read it out on the podcast. Reviews are the best way for new listeners to discover the show. Give us at least 5 stars and then share us with a good friend who likes venting about dead people.
You can also give us some money over on our Patreon. Patreon supporters get some cool bonus content like bloopers from the cutting room floor and even coming up with a fake sponsor ad that we'll read in an episode. It has to be a fake business though, not your MLM, honey.
Thanks so much for listening. Join us every Monday for our next Worm Feast.
I'm Kellen Conrad.
I'm Mainly Mandy.
And I'm Hoots. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.